The Galactic Youth Summit was meant to be a celebration of peace and cooperation. Representatives from 70 species had sent their offspring to the orbital station above Centauri Prime, each one carefully selected to represent their civilization's finest young minds. It was supposed to be educational exchanges, cultural presentations, and diplomatic networking. Then the station's alarms began screaming. Unknown vessels approaching, the Centauri security officer announced, his voice cracking with panic. Skarath raiders. Multiple signatures. They're jamming our communications, we can't reach the defense fleet. Ambassador Telvora, a dignified Arxelian administrator, went rigid with horror. The Skarath were the galaxy's nightmare, pirates who specialized in hostage-taking, slavery, and ransoming captured dignitaries. They'd somehow learned about the summit and saw an opportunity too valuable to resist, the children of the galaxy's elite, all in one place. Evacuate the juveniles to the core shelter, Telvora commanded. Seal all bulkheads and... There's no time, interrupted a calm voice. Everyone turned to look at the human delegation. 15-year-old Sergeant Cadet Maya Okonkwo stood up, her posture suddenly different, spine straight, shoulders back, eyes scanning the room with tactical precision that belonged on a battlefield, not in a teenager. What are you doing, child? Telvora asked, confused by the human's sudden transformation. Return to your seat and... Ma'am, with respect, I'm not a child. I'm a ranked cadet in the Earth Defense Youth Corps. Maya's hand moved to her ceremonial belt, where what everyone had assumed was decorative insignia turned out to be a collapsed combat baton. How long until they breach? 3 minutes, perhaps 4, but that's not. That's enough time. Maya turned to the other human delegates. Their ages ranged from 13 to 17, all wide-eyed and terrified moments before. Now their expressions hardened with determination. Sigma Protocol. Defensive perimeter. Use whatever you've got. The alien youths watched in stunned confusion as the human teenagers moved with practiced coordination. They weren't panicking. They weren't crying. They were forming a defensive line at the chamber's entrance with furniture, ceremonial staffs, and improvised weapons. This is insanity, hissed Kthar, a young Valorian noble. We're juveniles. We should hide, not fight. 16-year-old Marcus Chen glanced back while barricading the door. On Earth, by the time you're our age, you've already done disaster drills, active shooter protocols, wilderness survival training, and basic combat certification. It's mandatory education. Mandatory? The word came out as a horrified whisper from a dozen species at once. Our planet tries to kill us daily, explained Sarah Kim, 13 years old and calmly checking the structural integrity of their barricade. Earthquakes, hurricanes, predators, temperature extremes. We learn to handle emergencies before we learn algebra. The door exploded inward. 4 Skarath raiders burst through, their weapons raised, expecting terrified children. What they got was Maya's combat baton striking the first one's weapon arm with a crack that echoed through the chamber. The raider's gun clattered away. The humans moved like a single organism. Marcus swept another raider's legs. Sarah used a ceremonial banner pole to disarm the third. The alien youths watched in awe as these children systematically neutralized threats that would have made adult warriors hesitate. But the humans were outnumbered. More raiders poured in. Fall back. Maya ordered, maintaining formation. Protect the others. That's when something unexpected happened. Kthar, the Valorian noble who'd called them insane, grabbed a fallen weapon. Then a Dravaxian youth joined him. Then an Arxelian. One by one, the alien juveniles stopped cowering and started fighting, emboldened by the humans' refusal to surrender. The battle lasted 7 minutes, an eternity in combat time. When Centauri security finally broke through, they found a scene they'd never forget: 15 human teenagers, bleeding and exhausted, standing protectively over 70 alien youths. 12 Skarath raiders were unconscious or disabled, disarmed by children who shouldn't have known how to fight. Maya was still standing, her baton ready, even though she could barely lift her arm. "Status?" she asked the security officer. "Secure," he replied, staring at her with something between horror and respect. "The raiders are retreating. You held them off." She nodded once and collapsed. 3 days later, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The debate raged for hours about human child-rearing practices. Some species called it barbaric. Others called it negligent. But they all fell silent when Ambassador Okonkwo, Maya's father, spoke. "You call us barbaric for teaching our children to fight," he said quietly. "But we don't teach them to be warriors. We teach them to be survivors. On Earth, a child who doesn't know how to handle emergencies is a child we've failed to protect." He pulled up footage from the attack. "You sent your children to this summit wrapped in cotton, believing the universe was safe because you'd made it so. We sent ours prepared for the universe as it actually is. When danger came, your children needed protection. Ours provided it." The silence stretched. Finally, the Arxelian counselor spoke. "How young do you start this training?" 5 years old. Basic awareness and emergency response. 5? The word was barely a whisper. "On Earth," Ambassador Okonkwo continued, "we have a saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. You hope your children will never face danger. We prepare ours so they can survive it." He gestured to the screen, where young Maya stood guard over her alien peers. "That's not a warrior. That's a 15-year-old girl who wanted to be a botanist. But when the moment came, she knew what to do. Because we taught her. Because on a death world, that's what love looks like." The council chambers remained silent. Across the galaxy, species began re-evaluating their educational systems. And human parents everywhere received messages from alien ambassadors asking a question they'd never expected. "Could you teach our children too?" Because that day, the galaxy learned that humans didn't start training young because they were violent. They started training young because they loved their children enough to prepare them for a universe that didn't care about innocence. And sometimes, the greatest mercy was teaching them how to survive it.